Hello, welcome back to the Oblivious Maximus podcast for another episode. I'm your host, Aaron.
I'm your host, Ben. How you going, Aaron?
Fantastic.
Got some lads with us today.
We do. We've got Beachan and Keldon.
Hello.
Knuckledragger in the stew.
What's up?
How you going?
Real professional podcasters now. We're just bringing every Australian hardcore band to this studio in Brunswick.
If you're in Melbourne or I was pissed and talked to you last night, you're coming on this pod.
You're up. Did we invite? Well, so to kick off, you guys played a show last night with AWOL.
One of the great gigs.
Yeah, it was a ripper.
It was, pretty timeless.
How did you find it?
It was really, really fun. It was really cool. It was a big one, and I don't know. It was just like a good time. There wasn't any, I don't know, I felt like there wasn't any point where the show felt a bit weird or anything. It was always a good thing.
And it's like every band on the bill, killer.
Yeah.
And doing good shit at the moment.
Every set was crazy. It was just, I think it was sold out.
Yeah.
Which is psycho as well. Like
I
it
thought
was
it
a big room.
Just awesome vibes. I thought, like, top to bottom, like no fights or anything, which is positive.
Yeah.
And it's always surprising when you go to like maybe like 5 sets. It'll be like, it's gonna be crazy pits. It's gonna
Be a
violent.
little something,
People walk away. Everyone walks away fairly unscathed, and no one's fighting.
You expect
No one's been knocked out.
you expect a bit of gnarliness at some point, and it
Yeah.
just never really got there.
As
But
gnarly as I got was most of my beer being hit onto me.
Yep.
Because I was pissed trying to get on the other side of AWOL to get a good spot.
When Threshold played, someone definitely did a big old swing back into the crew. I think you were standing.
We were standing there, yeah.
And some poor soul just went completely down. And and it was just like classic. Then everyone's drinks were just like whoa.
Yeah.
just like $70 worth of alcohol flying through the air.
Yeah.
And at least it was all carpet,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Everywhere else it was like tiles. It was like, everyone's like, well,
That's how you know it was a good show, because everyone took that in stride. Like,
Yeah.
champs they were.
Yeah, no one got mad about the
Yeah.
drinks.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, dope show. Did you ask anyone to come on the pod during the show?
Who committed to
I was saying before, I will preface this by apologizing formally on air to Maddo from Last Ride Records, because I saw him 1 week ago when I was drunk, and I was like, brother, we got to get you on the pod. And then he texted me yesterday and was like, do you still want to do the pod? And I was like, well, I've double booked.
We've gone a different direction this week.
Snatched his spot.
Yeah.
So sorry, Maddo.
I
Thanks
think
for
I
putting out records.
might have chatted to the Horsepower crew maybe. So
Horsepower, see you on here.
see you soon.
See you on here soon.
Just trying to get the admin done at the show.
Yeah. I saw you giving some stickers out too. You were really-
Yeah.
Yeah, so for anyone who wants them, before we get into this, the branding's up.
Yeah.
Thanks, Knuckledragger, for advertising. Yep, this is good. This is good audio for people
that's the
listening. Yeah,
Please watch us on YouTube.
yeah. Watch. Stop driving. Pull over. And
Get
bring
your
up the
phone out
YouTube.
right
Yeah.
like and subscribe.
Thank you. So tell us. I mean, obviously, you've both been in a bunch of bands. Tell us how Knuckledragger came about.
It was like a COVID thing. It was like, nothing was happening, and we were kind of like, we always wanted to do some more, I guess, Detroit, New York hardcore, East Coast style stuff.
Yeah.
And I think the band name came first, and we were like, yeah, okay, that sounds pretty mean. And then it just sort of, I don't know, we just, when we could get back in the studio, we just started writing, and we just wrote a demo, and we wrote enough songs to do a demo and a split with our other band that we're all in.
Yeah.
So the split is with us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice.
And we released that, I don't even, when did we release
It's
the
been
demo?
like 3 years ago now, I think. It's
Probably
Yeah.
like 2019, 2020, 2021, I don't know.
It's flown.
Yeah, and it just sort of grew from there, and got to play some cool shows initially. It just sort of happened without us really even thinking too much about it, and it was fun and cool. But then we were kind of like, oh, we think we don't really like love the demo and the split as much as we probably want to, so let's try and write stuff that we do love. So we just took it a bit more seriously. And
What didn't you like about it?
I don't know. I think back then we just wanted to, like, we were in the mode of sort of pre-COVID where it was like, just get music out, hurry up, just
right.
throw something online so people can hear it. And then we were kind of like, oh, it's probably better to be a bit more intentional and not get like fussed about like, oh, I got to try and get music out so we can play a show of some kind. Like, it's kind of like, okay, let's just take our time with it and get it done properly. And we did. So
I think we put the demo and the split out before we'd even played a show, just because it was like, there's just nothing.
There was nothing.
There's nothing.
Yeah.
Like
we had like something booked, and then it was like, oh, actually, there's a new rule, and you have to have a seated crowd, and we were like, we're not doing that.
Yeah,
and
well,
The seated pit is a wild view.
It's like, I'm not playing that. I'm sorry.
Oh, but there's like you can hit the the pinball machine.
Yeah.
Don't worry, it's fine. It's fine.
We can have the billiards table. That'll be fun.
And we're like, no. Gosh, man.
I definitely got asked to play a bunch of shows when it was sit down COVID times, and could not have said no faster. I was like, I don't want to go to that. Like, I would not pay to go to that. So why would I subject other people to that?
Like, even at the time, it was kind of like, I don't even really want to go if it is standing.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it right now.
Yeah.
The world's in turmoil, and it's not something I care about.
Yeah.
When it got better and better, it was like, okay, let's pump something out so we can play. And then,
Great.
we sort of grew it from there and finally did a record we sort of liked a lot better. So that was cool.
And how did you go about recording that record?
So that was our other band, Half Man, with Al from World of Joy. We wrote Knuckledragger's record and Half Man's record all together and recorded it in the same session.
Yeah, right.
True.
So I did the drums for both, and it was like 2 separate bands in the same day. And so
Efficiency.
it was like just like the pure maximum functionality of recording.
Yeah.
It sort of seems like that's the nice thing about the Brisbane scene at the moment. You're all so interconnected. It's just like, let's just get it all done in one day.
It was just easier. It was just easier. And like, I guess, I don't know, more efficient and I don't know. They turned out pretty sick, I think.
And that's by Pip from Descent. So he was keen. He was on board. We're like, we got 2 records. We want to smash out 2 different bands, like one day. And he's like, yep.
It was like 14
Just got to be really good
songs
with the
total.
labeling.
All the files.
So that was. I mean, it was fun for us. I don't know if it was fun for Mick because he had to record guitar and bass for 2 separate bands, 14 different songs or whatever, which he hates at the best of times. Like he wishes everyone else could do it. But that's it was fun and that was pretty quick and painless. And then the stuff after is what takes its time, like getting everything together and booking records, and that's when we sort of started doing our Burning Hammer Records thing a bit more. So it sort of tied in with it all, and it led to us releasing those 2 records sort of back to back, pretty much over a few months. So.
When the World of Joy guys were on, Al was talking a little bit about how that all sort of came about, and I think. I think the big thing with that stuff is it's so important for hardcore, I guess, to carry on by other people jumping in and doing stuff too, because if you're always relying on one person or one group, it makes things get like stagnate, but then as well, it really slows things down because like there's only, he is putting out, again, sorry, Matto, he is putting out like every second thing, but he can only do so many things at once as well. Yeah. So like, and the reality is like you have to have other people jumping in to do stuff. And I think the other thing that's cool right now is that, back in the day, there was kind of like 3 or 4 like labels in Australia that put out this kind of stuff that, to be honest, half of them don't exist anymore. And then the other half don't do this stuff anymore. Yeah. So it's good that new stuff has come up, from beneath it to try and sort of take the lead on it.
Yeah.
Did it seem like it was like something you sort of did out of necessity, but then it's just kind of worked really well?
Yeah, like we did it for our bands. And it was just purely because it was like, well, we can just do it and kind of do it the way we would want to do it. And then I think, in a necessity sense where it's like Brisbane was pretty stagnant at the time. Like there was like not enough bands to ever like have enough like supports on certain tours and things like that. So we were kind of like, if we have heaps of bands,
why
don't we can always play and it's always good or whatever. And then it was the whole goal was always to do other bands that weren't us.
Yeah.
So I think it was like we're almost like test running on ourselves and learning what's better and what's not good and what was a silly idea or what was a great idea or whatever. And the risk is just on us. We're not like potentially stuffing up someone's demo or something like that. So I think it was just trying to learn on the go so that we can make, particularly Brisbane, but like just, I don't know. I know that Matto does so much to the point where like, you know, he'll do like bigger releases now and maybe can't really do like the demos, you know, the young bands or whatever. So we're kind of like, we could probably try and do that, you know.
And did that come out of it feeling stagnant beforehand?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Just, you go, Brent.
I guess like when I first moved up and like I joined Deathbed, like this was probably like 4 years ago now. I was like, I came with the mentality that you guys like they've got fucking awesome music, obviously, but we just needed like our own platform to sort of like put on shows or, you know, put other people onto hardcore shows. So I was like, why don't we just like, you know, take it and run it like ourselves? Like, you know, we know enough people like around the country within Brisbane venues that we played at. It's so easy to just pick up the phone and go like, oh, hey, we want to run a show at this venue. And it's all about just like, oh, you got a relationship with, like, you know, I know the guy that works at bloody Brightside. Hey, let's put a show on that, then we'll pick a bunch of hardcore bands and then, you know, we'll just split the funds up between us, like, and make it happen. Like, easy.
I think
seems easy, right?
It's easy.
I think the other thing too is like people often get surprised still that no, I would say like people were very surprised like we put out the like Extortion is putting out the Extortion records. And I think like people's initial thoughts on that were like, oh, you couldn't find a label, and it was like, bah, we don't need one.
You don't need a
like we, you know, the record pays for the record and then the merch pays for the next record. And
If you're
like,
willing,
you know,
if you're willing to shoulder all the admin load and stuff, it's like,
exactly. Well, and I mean that's the biggest burden.
always
is just like sending the fucking emails and following up invoices.
Where's my art gone?
Exactly.
Like, hey, what's for the
Some bands benefit from it and need it because it's like, you know, it just helps them organize themselves a bit better. And then others, it's like, you don't need to do that. Like, like even we, you know, if we get, you know, sent a demo and stuff and maybe we can't do it, I'm always like, please put this out yourself. Like you don't need to not do it if we can't or something. Like you can do it and people will check it out. Like, you know, it's happening now. Like
I think the difference, well, the benefit really is that, you know, with things like DistroKid and those sorts of things, you can get shit on Spotify pretty easy. You just have to pay for it. Same with like, now there's more pressing plants that are like kind of accessible for people. So you can put out and press records yourself. And
CDs are back, dude.
Yeah.
You can do CDs.
Weirdly, people like CDs again.
Yeah.
The CD player in my Golf, useful again.
Yeah. Finally, after 10 years.
I realized
Take the Boys to Men CD out of that one. Half serious.
Full serious.
Sorry, Mum, I stole it.
I'll take out my hardcore and metalcore playlist on the white disc that I burnt when I was in grade 10 that I would pester my mum with on full volume on the way to school.
When we moved to our current house, I had been moving around like since I left my, you know, childhood home. I'd been moving around like racks and racks and racks of CDs, but I just like gaffer taped them so that the CDs wouldn't fall out. And
Just one big block.
yeah, but they were just like, I was just moving them from house to house and never taking the tape off because I was like, oh, I'm not listening to the CDs, so I may as well leave the tape on for the next time I move. And then when we got to our home that we bought, Doc, my partner, was like, we're going to get rid of these CDs now, or like, can we start moving these on? Because actually, I think her first question was, are these coming inside? And I was like, why? And she was just like, we don't need these inside. And I was like, we don't need them. You're right. And then I was like, all right, I guess I'll just throw them out or like get rid of them. And then another friend of ours, Stu,
He's got really into collecting and like reselling them.
Yeah, he's really into collecting CDs. And then, particularly he's like on Facebook Marketplace, which is apparently like the best place to sell CDs.
Yeah.
You can buy a car on Marketplace now.
Yeah.
If you want to.
I'm pretty sure there might be a podcast. Someone talked about how they bought a house on Marketplace.
Oh, man. Let's go.
Like private sale, bought a house.
Fuck yeah, that's sick. Cut out the middleman.
You didn't buy a house. You bought an ex-drug den.
Yeah.
I assure you.
Just transfer me for the house.
If I can buy my house off my demolition subcontractor, you can buy one off mine. Easy, bro. Just drop a couple contracts.
Beam it requests me.
Oh, beam it.
$350,000, please.
Beam me the house.
That's just thrown me a real tangent
CDs.
that I have to bring up now.
Yes.
How come we don't have how come the American banking system is so bad that they have to use apps for money?
Like
Yeah.
Cash App and stuff?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
can't just bank transfer
I think
each other.
I think the country's just fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a
Yeah.
total whole.
Call out America.
Sorry, America.
Your
Everyone's
time's
like-
up.
Everyone's like, yeah, Cash App me. And I was like, I don't have an American account to like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cash App. Like,
we can't
it's
do
not
that.
fine.
Like,
That the last time I was there, I was there for a friend's wedding and went to like a Bucks weekend, and the whole time they were like cash apping each other, and I was like, "Who's got PayPal?
That's universal,
How
right?
how many fees do I have to pay to get you this money?"
they're the idea of sending money through bank accounts to them is like, what?
Yeah.
How could you do that? They could
like,
steal
why
your
is-
money. It's like that just doesn't happen. Like,
But the app isn't the free app that you have isn't taking your money somehow. Fuck.
that takes a
And
profit
surely it
from
costs. Yeah, it costs money, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You get
Because
a
like
fee.
Pay ID is free, right?
Yeah.
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 And it still blows my mind when people don't have it. But that is definitely getting scammed.
Oh, yeah.
People big time.
For sure.
For sure.
Anyway, that's been finance chat on the Oblivious Maximus. That's the
yeah.
bank.
I'm actually going to read out the Barefoot Investor for the rest of this.
We'll be posting this on Oz Finance.
Yeah, maybe we can tag the podcast now on Spotify Finance.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah, let's get in that top
Unlock a
chart.
different section.
So I guess a side note. Obviously, you just brought it up, B-Chan. I don't know. I don't think I've ever called you Brandon in your life. Just realized
I
that.
call him Brandon all the time.
Yeah. You're the only person called you Brandon.
I think I might be
probably.
one of the only, but maybe Christina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your partner.
When I'm in big trouble.
Your partner's not calling you your online handle in real life.
No way. Hell no.
Christina's not referring to you as the B-Chan god. DJ B-Chano.
So you moved to Brisbane. You're an import, not originally from Brisbane.
Yeah.
Part of the famous Sydney hardcore scene. You
Famous.
well, you're in music videos, man. You're in speed music videos. But that's after you moved. Though.
Yeah. Yeah.
But how? So obviously moving there, you mentioned before you joined, bands with these guys. How do you find it? Having been there now for quite a while, different to growing up playing music in Sydney and things like that.
I think Brisbane's in a really good place for for playing music, and if you're into arts and stuff, and even if you like DJ or any sort of creative ventures and stuff, it's generally it's pretty cool. Like it's a pretty cool city to be in. Like there's a lot of special stuff, and I feel like it's just it's sort of like an underrated jewel in Australia for sure. There's a lot of cool stuff that comes out of Brisbane that doesn't get as much shine as some of the stuff in like Sydney, Melbourne, other bigger cities.
Well, it's been interesting to see from like going to Brisbane in the last few years, like just for comedy stuff. There's a crew up there called Good Chat Comedy. They operate on Petrie Terrace there, and like they just started this club themselves, started putting on shows, and it feels like Brisbane's in a good place for that kind of thing, like which you guys have
100%.
just demonstrated. Yeah,
It's working for like small stuff.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be huge in Brisbane for it to work.
Yeah.
It's not as many barriers like there would be in say Melbourne or Sydney.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I was going to say our venues, we've got like plenty of venues, although they did just shut down the Zoo and Stranded Bar, which sucks, which is like long-standing venues. But like it, for a while, it felt like it seemed harder to put on things in like Sydney and Melbourne. Like you had to use like the non-venue hotel that happens to have shows or whatever.
Yeah.
As opposed to like we found it a bit easier to put on shows, or even just people find it easier to put on shows in Brisbane now. I don't know. Yeah. It just happens quite organically, which is good.
And when did you move there?
It would have been like mid-COVID, so mid-June, I think, 2020.
Yeah, right.
I just packed my car up and I was like, all right, we're moving with Christina.
Dunzo.
Yeah.
And, just fanging up the highway. at one point, I think fucking
Boys to Men blasted.
I had so many like sugar-free monsters as well. I think I might have said the jitters or something because I got pulled over in Byron and the cop like pulled me over. He's like, "You right, man?" I was like, "Yeah." He like, breathalyzed me and like took me out of the car and like had a look at me. Like, let me see.
He got you out.
Yeah, he got me out of the car. I was like,
Oh my God.
Let me get the monster detector.
he actually chucked me in Sharkers on the way. Like, stay safe, mate. And I was like, what?
That's
the fuck
cops
goes
in
on?
Byron for you.
Cops,
They're
what
real,
the fuck goes on in Byron, man?
real chill.
Yeah, it was chill. But,
Yeah.
And how often are you back in Sydney?
Literally all the time.
Every month.
Yeah.
yeah,
Every 3 weeks.
yeah.
Just for speed music videos.
I usually, I'm always like, yeah, mum, dad, I'm coming to visit.
Yeah.
My sister, I'm coming to visit.
Yeah.
I'm usually just like, some of the guys are like, I'm going to speech or some speed stuff, or like they're asking me to do stuff. It's like, okay, all right, I guess I'll go there.
Yeah.
But it's fun.
Act like it's some chore.
Yeah, once at least once a month, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
It's nice.
It's kind of like when I first moved here from Canberra was like right when like just classic perfect timing. Like I moved here and then like immediately I just started being like popular. And I was like, great, now I live 8 hours away from the thing that I have to do every weekend. And so like to the point where Pip, I think I said this on the podcast the other day, but Pip on the cold day flyer, it says Aglo ACT.
Yeah.
And I was like, I messaged him, I was like, it should say Vic. And he was like, oh, when did you move to Melbourne? And I was like,
You've been here like
14 years ago.
You've been staying in yours in like Pat's like old lounge room for what seems like probably like a good part of a decade.
Yes.
Like closer to the 90s.
Yeah.
I was actually on the way here and I was like, damn, is that like Aaron and Pat's old joint like right there?
Yeah.
It's pretty close, yeah.
Is it? Okay. Then
Yeah, you
also
could,
just like-
you would have been, yeah, you were staying there heaps
yeah. All
back
time.
in the day.
All the time.
I feel like I would have met you when you were very young then as well, right?
Yeah, I would have been like probably 18. I remember playing the one show that I do remember playing that I might have met you at was I think Dead Kings played with Phantoms in a basement in Canberra.
Oh, yeah.
It was-
big time.
Yeah,
I think I played that show too, maybe.
maybe in 2010 or 9.
If
Yeah.
it was a show in Canberra, I'm assuming you played it
Yeah.
in some capacity. You know what I mean?
Well,
I'm sure there.
Brendan thought I lived there until I told him last week I didn't. Yeah, no, because I mean, I think I've obviously on the old version of the podcast talked with Jem and Josh about it, but like I definitely met those guys when they were kids, like
Yeah.
actually kids,
Yeah, proper.
which you would have been as well
We would
at
have
the
been
time.
like 17, 18. Like,
Yeah.
And I remember, I can't remember who it was. Someone in the States asked me if I knew the guys from Speed, and I was like, "Yep, they used to stay at my house when they were definitely children." And as I was like explaining the story, it just sounded like worse and worse because I was like,
You know what? Yeah.
I was like, because I was like, they didn't really drink that much or like do anything silly back then, but they would come and stay at my house and I would be like, you know, regaling them of tales of being really drunk. And I was probably drunk while I was telling them the stories. And then like where the thing got tripped up when I was saying, I was like, yeah, you know, I'd be like sleeping in bed with Jem. And it was just like, so many people staying at your house. So you got to share your bed with them.
like in a touring centre.
But yeah, I mean, I'm sure, that Canberra show would make sense then.
Yeah. I think Observer played.
Oh, yeah.
It's just J Hat.
Yeah, J-Hat, famously.
How's that from memory?
Did you know that?
I had no idea about that.
J Hat sang for a band.
J-Hat sang for a hardcore band.
Oh my God, we got to get the footage of this.
Rob looked like he was going to vomit for like 15 minutes straight.
Yeah.
That expression has never left him.
We played, there was a show, we did it. I existed a split with Phantoms, and there was a show in Adelaide, and Murph and Jake from I Exist's flight got cancelled from Canberra, and it was the last flight to Adelaide that day from Canberra, so they just couldn't come. And Phantoms were like, the I Exist guys, we were like, maybe we'll just cancel I Exist playing it. It can just be a Phantom show, but because it was Adelaide, the bill was like really doomy leaning. Like I think it was like Sex Wizard and maybe another like doomy band or something like that. And Kelly was like, this can't be like a Phantoms hardcore band headlining and then all these like bands that sound like I Exist. Like I Exist is the only thing keeping Phantoms on the bill, basically.
Yeah, it's like the bridge.
Yeah.
Like there's no Air Maxes being worn.
no, not at all.
Yeah.
It was real Vans era at that point. But we were like driving into Adelaide as we found out that our drummer and singer weren't going to make it. And so we were like, fuck, what do we do? And then I was like, all right, let's go through the songs. What can we do? Because we had so many people. Like, what superfluous things can we do? And I was like, all right, I'll play drums. Which of the songs can I remember well enough to play the drums for? J-Hat was in the van, and it was when he was singing in that hardcore band, and he was like, we're like, all right, John, you're singing. And John was like, no, I'm not. I can't.
But it's like, no, we have no options. You
We're like,
gotta do it, man.
You gotta get up there. And because Kelly was there, he could play guitar. It was fine. And then like we got to the show, and I think the first song that John got up to sing, he was just like running around barking, and then he just about like the song got to like a bit towards the end of it, and we're like, bah, and I'm like ready to ring out, and John just dropped the mic and walked off, and it was like, all right, he's done one. And then I think Cade got up, and Cade was like, I guess I'm singing. And then, like, I think Cade did 2 songs, and I think was just making up, just saying Sydney hardcore a lot, like making up words.
I Exist karaoke.
Yeah.
And then
It's crazy you thought that was a better option than just not playing.
well, and then this is the funny thing, like when people talk about like, oh, bands being serious and stuff, and like, professionalism and things like that, I'm like, man, for when I was like hitting my straps with that band, we could not have been less serious. Like we were like, oh, who gives a fuck? Just play every show.
Yeah.
I mean that carried on for ages. Like the playing shows with 4 guitars was just like, hey, there's 4 amps. We're all here.
How silly could it get?
Let's do it.
Crank it up.
Anyway, enough about me. So this is the show you played last night, first show of a tour.
Yes.
Very broken up tour, also
Yeah.
partially my fault because
Yes, it
I
is.
Exist.
Oh, yeah, shit it.
I ruined the Melbourne show of the AWOL album release tour by booking an extortion show on the same night. So
Thank God I messaged you because I was like,
It was about to be
like-
announced.
I was like, yeah, we're playing May 10. You're like, oh, we're playing May 10 too. And I was like,
You're like,
what's the
wait,
show?
are we playing on the
I
same
should
show?
know this. My old band's playing too.
yeah.
What'd you have done? You could have just merged the shows, just like
Well, it was
10 band.
I mean, it was because
Go
I
10
think
band.
just out of nowhere, you just messaged me like, hey, I'll be in Melbourne. See you May 10. And I was kind of like, oh, maybe he's coming to the extortion show.
Maybe to play in Primitive Blast.
Yeah, exactly. Because Primitive Blast playing. And then I was like, oh, cool, blah, blah, blah. Primitive Blast extortion that night. And you were like,
wait, what?
oh, fuck. I got a message, Matt.
So I got off the phone, Matt straight away. I was like,
we've got to
anyway,
get like
you
a
won't believe
shared
this, man.
calendar going or something.
Yeah.
Google Drive calendar.
It's like Australian hardcore calendar.
Yeah,
for the year.
booking warnings.
Okay, guys, put all your dates in.
What do you got? All right, we got nothing.
Matto just is like, oh, that one's not approved. You can't update. Could you move that to weekend after?
Yeah,
That's
he's
like
really-
last time I did my show in Brisbane last year, and
Yeah.
it was on the same night as on Caxton Street when the Matildas were playing
Oh
at the
my
peak,
God.
and I'm like, couldn't have picked a fucking worse night. Like full street full of like Matildas merch. I'm like, not seeing a lot of solo shirts out there.
Any stand-up comedian in the room?
Once you
Anyone not want to support women's sport? I see a man do stand up.
But so first show of a tour that is now split up over multiple weekends. Sorry. Show last night was great start. Obviously,
Yes.
Melbourne hometown show for AWOL.
Yep.
Where are the other shows at?
We've got Brisbane next at the Brightside in a couple of weeks on a Saturday night. I can't remember the dates.
May 18, I think.
May 18, yeah. And that's on its own weekend as well, which is good because it's sort of, I don't know, could use all the help we get in Brisbane.
Yeah.
to make things better.
Yep.
And it will be good. I'm excited for it.
Nice one.
Good young bands on the lineup, things like that. And then we got the weekend after on the 23rd, 24th,
24th,
of May
yeah.
weekend is the New South Wales weekender. So we just go Newey, Sydney, Canberra in
Great.
3 days. So
Yeah, nice.
that's the actual tour.
Yeah.
Where
We weren't supposed to do Canberra, but
got added last
we got added
minute.
last minute, and we were like,
We have to.
we're down there, why not?
And
Yeah.
they're like,
Yeah.
it's just like in the last 6 months, just a popping off again.
Yeah,
it's just
it's-
so sick. So
It's back
we
to
had
that
fun.
house show sort of stuff that you
Yeah,
guys used to
and
do.
that was like the
Which is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, obviously not being there anymore, other than Pip thinking I'm there. I kind of am outside of that world now, I suppose, and also the fact that like I am much older than the people that are doing those shows there.
Yes.
But I guess because of Bloodmouth, like my friends and still members of the bands that I'm otherwise in, and I guess they've been playing some of those shows because they're there with those guys. But that like younger crop of Canberra guys are like seemingly just busting ass, which is
100%.
awesome.
It's
Like,
so sick.
Doing
It's just, it
multiple bands. They're
reminds me of Brisbane.
yeah.
It's like
Booking
the
their own
same
shows.
feel. Like,
Yeah.
crazy.
But when I was a kid there, I mean, I don't know what it was like in Sydney or Brisbane back in the day, but like house shows were like every week there was a house show.
Yeah.
And I didn't really, I mean, I played a couple of house shows in Melbourne, but it didn't, I mean, it might be different.
There were, I mean, around that like, I mean, I guess it's like 06, 07.
Yeah.
Felt like there was a lot.
Yeah.
But I guess that's mostly, people could afford to live in houses that were big enough
Yeah,
to do
yeah.
it. But it seems like Canberra is more set up for it with people having basements and stuff.
Well, and because Canberra is like the burbs everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than the little city, everything is a suburban home.
Were venues sort of like
It's like an
hard to come
outdoor
by?
thing.
Or-
At the minute, yes.
Yeah.
Like there was actually like a news article about it the other day that the big venue in Canberra, the Basement, basically is like
Folding.
one of it's like one of two places that can host like between 100 cap and 700 cap. Like
Like
it's
nice, like middle.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it can basically do everything, but there's only one other venue that's like a sort of 300 cap venue, like a normal pub sort of venue. They're the only ones. And so like it's crazy hard right now.
Shallow pool of.
Yeah, and and the thing is like they just get so booked out by international tours.
Yeah.
And big things because they obviously need to prioritize that. So then the younger bands have nothing.
Yeah, local
and then
bands and stuff don't have like a place to go. Yeah.
so that's, I mean, and that's, the necessity, like, so they start doing house shows.
Yeah.
But
It's like it's like in their backyard.
yeah.
It's fucking
backyard.
sick. Yeah.
The thing,
crazy. Like,
the thing, I did hear from some of the Canberra guys that they're like, there's like a 50-50 hit rate on the shows getting shut down because it is outside.
Yeah.
Like
a neighbor can hear you.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think they were like I think they did one at nighttime and they were like, yeah, that didn't work. It can't be at nighttime. Like,
You gotta tap in with like the Malaysian style where you just like tip off like the brown paper bag to like the police chief commissioner. And go, there's not a.
Hey man,
Uncle
we're
Sean.
having a barbecue.
There's a really loud barbecue. Guitars.
It's very like I don't know. It's quite sick to see like people just take risks like that too. Like a lot of people go, "Oh, to get shut down, who cares?" It's like, no,
Yeah.
that's sick that you like doing that. Like it should
Yeah.
be like that, you know.
I mean,
Well, and if you can get
respect.
it done, the band's done quick enough, it's
Yeah.
like you can just get away with it
Yeah.
within like a couple of hours.
And I mean, I think the reality is like when you're doing stuff like that too, you can't be like precious about anything. You have to be going like, all right, you're all using the same amps, you're all using the same shit, and you need to. It's not 30-minute sets. It's like
Don't bring the XFX out, please.
there is no
Campers,
line
stay
check.
in the fucking van.
there's no monitors, in-ear monitors being used.
You turn your amp up. And that's about it. You don't worry
Will
about
not be
it.
able to hear yourself.
yeah. But yeah, we used to play like house shows were like the biggest thing back then. Did you ever play one? I mean, other than the basement thing, did you ever play one in Canberra?
I think that was the only one.
Yeah.
Because after that we would have played like I think Magpies. I think was
Yeah.
after that, and then we would have like, venues aside from that. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, you played like a really Rip and I Exist show at the Magpies one time, right?
Yeah, that was it was what do you call it? International Week?
Oh, multicultural festival.
Multicultural Week, sorry.
It was sick though.
I should know this, but it's a Harm's Way. Was it
Yeah.
Harm's Way 2015.
There's a really good photo of Pliggy, who sings for Harm's Way, just eating an ice cream that J Hat took. That's like in the middle, the hardest, the biggest cunt in hardcore. eating an ice cream in the middle of like a bunch of like multicultural food stalls, and he's just like having an ice cream.
I remember Josh going to the KAVA stand and getting like a polystyrene like cup of like KAVA.
Yeah,
and I was like, why aren't you using
the ceremony?
The bowl?
Yeah.
The bowl and like clapping and stuff.
Yeah.
Like we usually do, but like he's like, no.
I just love the taste of this dirt water.
It's making me levitate a little bit, actually.
Very relaxed.
It's making me levitate.
So also good question. We both have spent time in Fiji in our lives.
Oh yes, we have.
Another link. I lived there for some years.
Yeah.
What's your vibe on KAVA at this point?
I've come around.
You come around?
I've come around.
Okay.
So I as a kid, I guess I tried it. Like your dad's like, oh, gives you a bit. You're like, oh, yuck. But I sat with like a bunch of uncles the other day, and we were just going round for round, and I was like, I'm sort of liking this. Hey, like, yeah. I'm in Logan. Like, how am I going to drive home? Eh? Like,
I can't feel my face.
I can't feel my face.
I got told this story
That's
the
awesome.
other day about this comic who's going through this breakup at the moment.
Yeah.
My friend's like, yeah, I saw him the other day. He looked like a mess. He's just been drinking KAVA all the time to try and get through it. And I'm
His
like,
hair's falling out. He's addicted to going to pet shops and just. My dad had this mate that started like a KAVA shop. Like, it's not even a KAVA shop. It's a pet shop, and he works at it or he owns it. And out the back, he just has 10 of his mates, and they all just fucking sit there drinking KAVA. And I was like, Dad, like these guys like work or anything? He's like, oh, just.
It's like a
KAVA speakeasy.
a social club.
Social club.
That's like literally the bit from The Simpsons, like Moe's Pet Shop.
The best damn pet shop in town.
Literally just that. And I was like, what? He doesn't do anything. Okay, they don't have to do anything, man. They're really tired. No,
Fucking hell.
Don't worry about it, son. Don't worry
That's
about it.
sick.
So that's a peek into my future.
You'll be doing that when you hit unk status.
Okay. Where do I sign up?
Fuck.
We do that at Birmingham headquarters, man.
That might be the vibe.
Might be the vibe, yeah.
I think Gathane would vibe with that most.
Oh, Cathane would fucking love it. He would love it.
Gathane
Like,
would vibe.
One of the like other big things back in the day of touring was in Adelaide, across the road from Enigma Bar was the Cara Hut, and it was a Cara bar that only sold Kava and herbal cigarettes, and it was like everything was clearly not above board, but it was like a tiny little cafe, and then out the back had like a beer garden, but it was just like a shed attached to the back. And they were like, you can't bring booze in. You can only drink the kava. You can't smoke out the back, but you can smoke the herbal cigarettes. And so it was just, of course, we would just go back there and smoke weed.
that is a herbal cigarette.
And like
The ultimate herb.
and the lady just didn't give a shit. But the best was there was like, they had like ratings of the kava. So it was like light or really heavy, and we were always like, give us the $300 bowl, like give us this crazy, and then like it was never nothing like getting kava in Fiji or Samoa or anything. It was just like whatever, your face would be a bit tingly and you'd be smoking weed, and you'd been in Enigma all night, so you were like pissed as when you're in there. But it became this like tradition of, all right, we go to Adelaide, we go to the markets, we get like a big feed, then we go to Enigma, we take a photo with the Predator, we play.
The Predator? Oh my God.
We go over to Kava. Yeah, we go over to Cara Hut, smoke a bunch of weed, drink kava, wake up feeling like shit at 7 a.m. and go home.
4-7 in the van and get to the airport.
With Enigma shutting down, what's happened with the Predator? Is there any word on it?
Can
Can you buy it? A piece of it?
Well, I think there was.
Surely someone's giving it out as
memorabilia.
So I'm pretty sure the Predator and the other stuff from Enigma was like an artist from Adelaide made
you
them.
could buy it.
Right.
You could buy them, but I think the guy who owned Enigma was just like, he was like, this is the art for this venue.
He said, that's fucking sick.
Yeah.
I need that at my venue.
But it was just crazy because I think it's probably not on there anymore, but the Google Maps image for Enigma Bar was like two drunk cunts with like,
Fan submitted art.
yeah.
Like we're like a part of the reason it like lasted as long as
Yeah.
it did.
It was like a community upload was someone being like, this is the venue, you know?
I love it.
That's how you knew it was.
Anyway, so we used to go there and do that a lot. So I had this like confidence in me that I could drink heaps of kava. And then I went to Fiji on a holiday with my ex-girlfriend and her like whole family. And there was one day where they all went out and did some, I don't know, family activity. And I was like, nah, I'm just going to hang at the hotel. So I was at the swim up bar, just drinking my ass off and just chatting shit with the bartender. And I said something about drinking kava. And he was like, oh, I can get you kava. And I was like, dope, let's do it. Then the next, like, he sort of disappeared. And then, like, I went to the room or did something, had a nap, came back to the bar to drink again. And he's back. And he's got, like a 2-liter milk bottle. And he just, like, puts it on the counter. And it's just, like, brown dirt water. And he was like, here it is, $20. And I was like, all right, great. Gave him $20. And I was just, like, drinking it out of a bottle of milk.
Far out, dude.
At the bar with like a beer bar, just, like, doing this.
Mix up. Oh no.
And I reckon there was about, sort of a couple sips into this thing. I'm sitting there and I sort of like looked down and I was like, I can't feel any like here down. And I was just at this like in the water in this swim up bar, just like looking down. And then I looked up and he just gave me like an enormous bowl of pineapple. And he was like, citrus, you have to offset it with citrus. You shouldn't have been drinking it like that. And I was like,
dude.
You gave me this huge bottle. Like,
This is not responsible service.
That's
Where's your
last
RSA?
ages.
Where's your RSA right now?
Yeah.
why didn't you give it to me in the ceremonial bowl? Like,
Bit by bit.
yeah.
So the other day, we've been playing around with that Meta AI thing
Yeah.
on Facebook, and Matto has just randomly sent Beach one that was like, Meta AI, give me a Knuckledragger logo with a guy from Fiji drinking kava. It's actually
Looked good?
awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's quite dope. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Thank you, Meta AI.
Thank you, Matto and Meta AI.
We love you guys, man.
So aside from the oncoming shows with AWOL, what else is in the pipeline?
Damn.
Knuckledragger or others?
We've got
June.
we're playing Knuckledragger and Halfman are playing a show each of the Tsunami Big Boy tour.
Oh yeah, cool.
Awesome.
One of them is at Dropouts.
Yeah.
And Dead City Barbers, and it's like a skate shop, streetwear,
Yeah.
barber shop thing, and like that'll be pretty cool because it's like all ages. It's kind of like obviously not really above board kind of thing. It's not a venue. It's not properly. It is. For anyone listening, it is properly organized. We're actually really good at organizing them.
That's the exclusive.
Yeah, that's it.
Pod exclusive.
Exclusive is that
Secret
actually they're really good shows and they're all above board. But that'll be quite crazy and hectic. And then Mud, our other band, with Al singing, we have a record done and mastered.
Yeah,
Oh,
cool.
sick.
Ready to go.
there you go.
We just have to get off our ass and organize the artwork and do all the extra stuff, which takes as long as it takes. But
Do the admin stuff we
do
were
the
talking
admin.
about before. Yeah.
like actually do the emails or whatever. Yeah, but that'll be good, and we're excited to release that. And then we plan on recording a Halfman record, recording a Deathbed record, hopefully before the end of this year. I don't know. I'm gonna say that now. We're gonna do it before the end of this year. Hold myself
We have
accountable.
to like
We have to.
manifest it.
yeah.
yeah.
Like, yeah, we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
You're putting this out into the world of the 100 of Oblivious Maximus listeners.
Just say it with my chest.
Will now be expecting this.
Yeah.
It-
You got to
it'll
hold yourself accountable, say it out loud. It's
Yeah.
going to happen.
If you don't, it won't happen. So that's sort of in the pipeline, as well as we're going to do more bands
Yeah,
that aren't our
there's more
bands. Hopefully
Yeah, cool.
get more in other cities and do more shows.
Bring it up to Brisbane for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sick.
we like the idea of doing interstates in Brisbane and making the shows good and fun and making them better, and then
Yeah.
just pushing the scene a bit. And it's sort of I don't know. It's like we don't really have like a goal per se. It's just
Put on
push
good
it
shows.
so it's cool.
Yeah,
and people
yeah.
like going and makes the scene better. And young kids want to start more bands, and then eventually we don't have to do it anymore.
Yeah.
Just quit it. You know.
Yeah.
And I think the thing is that now that you've got the label, it's like if you put something out, it's like people know it's going to be good because it's like Burning
I hope so.
Hammer.
Yeah, I hope
Yeah,
so.
because
Like,
looking at it from afar, it's like, you know, we've all talked a lot about that stagnation and things like that, and it's like, yeah, it seems like shit's going really well in Brisbane at the moment.
I'm glad. I mean, I'm always glad to hear that from people because I'm like, it's nerve wracking. Like the first sort of like technically some of our Deathbed releases were like under Burning Hammer Records, like technically on like Spotify or whatever. But the Half Man thing was the first thing we did where it was like Burning Hammer Records dropping this band, and it's like, that's our band and that's our label, and if people think it sucks, I'll be sad. So it's kind of like, I'm glad it's kind of worked out the way it has, where, you know, it feels like we're sort of doing the right thing just from what people are saying. So it's
and I
working
feel
well,
like
I
it's
think.
that thing of the stuff, I don't know, out of Brisbane at the moment, it just seems to be that little bit harder as well.
that's
Bit harder
always-
edge.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Something about the sun up there.
Yeah.
It's really.
It's all the KAVA from Beach Ants family.
Working in the sun, concreting all day,
and
laying bricks.
listening to endless amounts of Third Strike.
Yeah.
Helps a little bit.
Bringing back.
X the War X probably. I don't know.
Just all the heavy
Just
shit.
changes stuff in your brain a little bit.
Yeah.
We sort of didn't have the youth crew thing. It didn't really come through us, I guess. I don't know.
My youth crew was killing him a kid.
Mine was militant straight edge. It's I don't know. It's I guess it's also kind of like a bit of a silly claim to fame, is people always like, yeah, we pit harder in Brisbane. Man. We fucking go harder in Brisbane. And then people go like, oh, you guys didn't go as hard. Like at that show, and we're like, really? Okay, well, we
Come
better
on,
do
guys,
it better.
pick it
now.
up.
Yeah. And then that happens, and everyone goes, oh yeah, they do. Okay, that makes sense. Like, so I think it's kind of become the tagline of it, I guess. I don't know. And also, to be very fair, I don't think anyone in Burning Hammer likes stuff that isn't hard as fuck. So like, it's kind of like, we don't want to do non-hard bands.
Yeah.
You're not bashing your instrument,
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
bashing it until it's like about to break.
Like, I'm to the point where I'm like, I don't listen to non-hard music. If it's fucking pop music, it's fucking Phil Collins slapping the drums or whatever.
Yeah.
I need it, you know?
I listen to hard pop.
Yeah.
all this Genesis and fucking all that, man. Like, so I don't know. We lean that way regardless. And we want to do bands we like. So that's kind of like what we've done, I guess. Like, but yeah, more to come.
Sick.
Always more to come.
Ben, you got anything coming up?
Some show. Just trying to lock in dates at the moment for a little Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne run before I head to Edinburgh. So I'll probably say what that actually is next episode, but look out for that.
Be half man supporting.
Maybe.
Show.
Hard hit. Burning Hammer presents
hardcore.
Ben talking around hard riffs.
Well, that was like,
up next.
it was always like during Comedy Festival, I had like my intro song was Trapped Under Ice. I'm like, all right, well, now I'm going to talk for an hour. Maybe I need something a little more chill to come out to.
Is there, can I ask, is there like I know there's laughs, but is there like visually something you get out of a reaction of stand-up comedy that like helps you go like, oh, that's a good show? Because with hardcore music, it's like, everyone's moshing, that means it's a good show. Like,
I think people like, obviously looking at people's faces and like people, I think I talked about in comedy, it's like if the laughs just like keep rolling, like that's a good show. But sometimes you'll get a show where it's like laugh and then people like make me laugh again. And you're like, all right.
That's like everyone moshing to the one pit part and then stopping for the fast part.
Yeah.
Like,
No, keep going.
Keep going.
So I think in the same way, you want it to just roll and like have that good vibe.
That makes sense. Yeah, that's sick.
I think that's actually why Extortion only have like 30-second songs.
Yeah.
It's because there's only enough time.
There's enough time to like side to side
And then it's
punch the air.
Yeah.
You don't need a spin kick.
How about you, Aaron?
I mean, by the time this comes out, Extortion will be going to America. So go to that.
Enjoy.
And then I'll be in Brisbane for
Yes.
the Cold Day Fest with Aglo.
Yes.
And Keldon's going to play drums for Aglo. So
Sick.
thanks, Keldon. Yeah, that's it at the minute. More pods.
More pods.
More of any Australian hardcore bands that happen to be in Melbourne. Thanks,
Get
guys.
your stubby holders,
Get your stubby holders. Listen, if you want one, hit us up.
and we'll just send it to you.
And we'll just send it to you because no one's buying a podcast stubby holder.
You'll probably also get some merch that we want to get rid of from our houses.
Yeah. But as I said in this one record the other day, I have Oblivious Maximus shirts from like 5 years ago that have been really gathering dust. So we can,
Get the 4XL.
if I can move some of them, you're getting one.
You'll have to write with Aaron Osborne and Ben Searle on it.
Yeah, I'll have to update it. That's okay, I can do that. But thank you very much for coming, guys.
Thanks,
Thanks for
guys.
having us, guys.
Yeah, it was awesome. Thank you.
Brutal.
Cheers.